What up, y'all? Star Wars Steph here, and we have some amazing leaks from the Shadows of the Galaxy set that is set to release July 12th. Now, not that anybody cares, but that's my birthday, so I am super excited for the set. It has the Mandalorian in it, which is one of my favorite characters, Grogu, obviously, and yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a whole new grip of cards that we get to add to our play sets and make some probably pretty amazing decks out of. This set will probably be the set that will essentially have our organized play meta in. So that's actually really, really cool. So this is going to be a very important set to keep your eye on and find some cards that might synergize well with these cards that have come in the first set. So first up, we have the Mandalorian. Now this is a starter deck exclusive card, the starter deck, two-player starter deck. We kind of already knew about this, as it was going to be Din Djarin and Moff Gideon. But yeah, Mando seems to be really, really good. He has an ability that is a stagnant ability. Doesn't cost you anything to play. Basically just adds an additional effect to any upgrade that you play. So when you play an upgrade, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, exhaust an enemy unit with 4 or less HP remaining. Now this is going to be super important in the very beginning of the game. You're going to be able to save your base from taking a whole bunch of hits. It's going to be actually really, really interesting. I'm already thinking, so looking ahead at some of these cards, which I've already done. The Razor Crest is a blue card, so playing something like Security Complex with the Mandalorian is going to be absolutely amazing. Now, when you get to 6 resources, you can flip the Mandalorian, and he becomes his leader. We flip him onto his leader side, and it becomes a leader unit that enters the fray and enters the battle. He is a 4/7, just like Boba Fett. But unlike Boba Fett, he does cost 6, so it's going to take a little bit longer for this one to come out. But his ability is also stagnant ability, and is going to add an additional ability to any upgrade that you play. So when you play an upgrade, you may exhaust an enemy unit with 6 or less HP remaining. So yeah, we've already seen things like Snapshot Reflexes, which is going to be really good to throw on this, and any other upgrade in the game, right? I mean, we have a couple more in here. And it doesn't say that you have to attach it to your unit, so the card Wanted that we're going to take a look at in a second is going to pair very well with this ability. Next up, we have the Unit Mando, and this is why you're going to have to pair Mando with Blue. Blue has a bunch of really good control and removal cards, so this is going to be a very interesting deck, to say the least. So Mando is going to be a 5/6 that comes out on 6, so both your Mandos can come out essentially on the same turn. And this Mando has Sentinel. That means he's going to be protecting baby Grogu and protecting our base. When played, you may heal all damage from a unit that costs 2 or less and give 2 shield tokens to it. So this is a pretty good effect, especially since it's coming out on 6. You might have a Grogu on the field, which I think it synergizes very, very well with. And you're going to heal all damage from it. And you're going to give it 2 shield tokens, which means it's going to stick on the board for quite a while, right? All right, now this is a legendary. I can't wait to pull this in hyperspace foil. That's what I need. And yeah. Next up, you can't have Mando without Grogu. This is actually a starter deck exclusive card, which I'm starting to find that a lot of our really good 2-drops are going to be coming from our starter decks. So Grogu is a 0 attack, 5 defense. I guess that kind of makes sense, but his action is he's going to be using the Force. You just tap him, which means he has to be in play for 1 turn, but you tap in and you just exhaust any enemy unit. Now, this is super duper good. It is like a reoccurring system control craft, or no, the 2-drop space unit, anyways, that exhausts 1 if you control another yellow unit. So this is going to be actually really, really good. Next up, we have the Mandalorian's Rifle. So this is one of those upgrades that you're going to be attaching, and it's going to trigger our Mando leader's ability. So when played, if the attached unit is a Mandalorian, which he definitely will be, he captures an exhausted non-enemy unit. So what captured is going to be a new fold in our different actions that you can take. Not actions, we're going to say mechanics within the game. That's the word I'm looking for. So you're going to capture an exhausted enemy unit, and you're going to put the capture card face down under him until he leaves play. So not only does this give you +3 attack, but you're going to be removing a unit from the field, and if you combine it with the Mandalorian leader, you're also going to be exhausting a unit that costs 3 or less. Yeah, this seems really good for controlling the board. Next up, we have Wanted. Now, this is another one of those upgrades that are going to trigger Mando's effect. So the attached unit gains Bounty. Bounty means ready to friendly resources when this unit is defeated or captured. Its opponent collects the bounty. So basically, you put it on one of your opponent's units, you defeat the unit, and you are going to yourself be able to ready up 2 more resources. It seems actually really broken. We see how good that can be in the Boba Fett deck, and you only get to use that a couple of times in a game. And this is a card that you'll be able to just play straight from your hand. Next up, we have the Razor Crest. This is a space unit, 4-drop, blue heroism. It's going to have 3 attack and 4 defense. And we're going to restore 2 when it attacks anything. So yeah, heal up your base. It's going to be super duper good. And when played, you may return an upgrade from your discard pile to your hand. So that recursion is actually going to be very, very important for card economy. I think that card economy is going to start becoming more of a prevalent thing within the game as we have different cards that are going to be able to search cards and or add cards from our discard pile to our hand. Also, Mando seems to be a lot about card economy because he is taking your units, he's exhausting your units. Yeah, it just seems absolutely amazing. Next up, we have Moff Gideon. Now, this is the wrong side. It should be this side first. So we'll take a look at the leader side. Action, so you do have to tap him. It's not a stagnant effect like our Mandalorian, but it does allow you to attack with a unit that costs 3 or less. If it's attacking a unit, it gets +1 for this attack. So it's kind of half of a shoot first, but it has to be on a unit that costs 3 or less. So I find that to be relatively mid. But we'll see how it goes. We've seen abilities like this kind of on Leia, but luckily with this one, you only have to have 1 unit on the field, unlike Leia, where you need to have 2 Rebel units. And this only is relegated to something that costs 3 or less. So Viper probe droids, the Thailand fighters, things along that nature are going to fit the bill for this ability, or this action. So its leader unit side, it is Imperial official. It deploys on 5, so it deploys a little bit sooner than Mando, which makes sense because we see Moff Gideon in the show before he interacts with Mando, so very thematic there. Love that. It is 3/6. 6 is a really strong defense to have, and it has Overwhelm. So yeah, when you attack into an enemy unit, deal excess damage to their base. Only having 3 attack makes Overwhelm interesting. To say the least, there aren't many green cards that are going to be buffing up your units. Only thing I can really combine this with is going to be the Thai Advanced Fighter, the one that gives 2 experience tokens to a unit. But yeah, this card seems to be really, really good. And it has a stagnant ability that each friendly unit that costs 3 or less gets +1 and gains Overwhelm while attacking. Now, this is going to be extremely important because that means that anytime you're dealing with one of your opponent's unit, you're also going to be doing damage into their base, which seems to be a very aggressive tactic. Once again, it's only on units that cost 3 or less, so we're going to have a little bit of a weenie patrol going on with Moff Gideon, which makes sense, right? I mean, he comes through, pulls up with all the stormtroopers, and Death Troopers. Speaking of Death Troopers, we're going to get to that soon, but in order to transport those Death Troopers around, we need Gideon's Light Cruiser. Now, this is an 8-drop space unit, Imperial vehicle, capital ship. Imperial super duper important. You can find it off Grand Moff Tarkin, which is also a green card. So this is going to be very interesting. This is also a starter deck card. It is a 7/8, which is absolutely huge. And actually, now that I think about it, Moff Gideon is green, which means he has access to ramp. So you might be playing this card or seeing your opponent play it a lot sooner than you think. It has Overwhelm as well, which ties in with Moff Gideon's whole shtick. And when played, if you control Moff Gideon as a leader or a unit, similar to Fett's Fire Spray, you may play a unit that costs 3 or less from your hand or discard pile for free. This is another one of those card advantage cards that is going to be adding card advantage to your field, which is absolutely amazing, especially if you're playing that card from your discard pile. So when played, it's pretty much a 2-for-1 at 8 though, which is can be relatively expensive, but as long as you are sequencing this correctly, it's going to be an amazing card. Speaking of Dark Troopers, which is a 3 cost, so Moff Gideon does give it a boost of +1 and gives it Overwhelm. In addition, it is a Sentinel, so this card actually synergizes like crazy with Moff Gideon, which makes sense because it's in the starter deck. So it is a Sentinel, which means they have to attack it before they attack your base, and when combat damage is dealt to this unit, give an experience token to this unit, even if it survives the damage. Only if it survives the damage check. So this won't work if you try to put a bunch of shields on here, which is perfectly fine. But as long as your opponent or you are attacking into something that has less than 3 attack, this thing's going to be getting bigger and bigger by the moment. Next up, we have Calculated Lethality. This is going to be an event card, and it is defeat a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less. For each upgrade that was on that unit, give an experience token to a friendly unit. So this kind of seems to be in the realm of I'm Your Father, probably a card that's going to be really good in the starter deck, but maybe not so good in the actual meta. Now that we've taken a look at all these cards, what's your thoughts? Let me know down below, and can't wait to see some of these packs being cracked and some of the cards from the actual set being revealed. Thanks everybody for showing up and showing out, and until next time, peace.